When it comes down to choosing the next game to platinum, the first thing I normally do is check the trophy guide. I always like to see what I'm getting into, whether that's working on collectibles, difficult tasks, or even the long haul of hours to complete that one trophy the developers didn't think anyone would do. Personally, I just love to have a clean 100% across all the games I've platinumed. There's just something about the continuity of all the trophies sitting together with the exact number. Really getting into trophy hunting over the last few years, I've been more careful what games I've been choosing to play. It's the absolute worst when you've almost finished everything in the game and you have that one last trophy stopping you from the platinum. Even though I have some stricter guidelines for myself on what games I'm playing on my profile now, that wasn't always the case. I had an older account where I started my platinum journey. On this account, I experimented with various games, earned a few trophies, and, well, gave up on a lot of games too. This was due to either changing my mind too frequently, the games were too difficult, or there were just too many trophies to earn. But now we've got the question, what games weren't I able to platinum? Well, why not go to my older account and have a look together? Let's have a look at some of the trophies I never obtained, discuss why I never finished these games, and maybe, just maybe, reconsider attempting a game or two for the channel. So what are we waiting for? Let's get straight into this list and see why these platinums defeated me as a player. As you all know, Left 4 Dead isn't available on the PlayStation console. Unfortunately for us PlayStation players, we missed out on this terrific title. We missed out on the feeling of being stressed out by the huge horde of zombies, and moments like these, getting snatched by a hunter when our teammates are on the other side of the map. Well, if you wanted to play a similar game, Vermintide was the closest thing at the time that I can think of. Sure, it's not set in the United States, and you fight big rats, but it's kind of similar. This was one of those titles I grabbed with a group of friends because it was a co-op game, and it was on sale at the time for $5. As I mentioned earlier, it's similar to Left 4 Dead, where you have 4 teammates and you need to get through the countless wave of enemies to finish the level. You had different abilities for each character, and you could upgrade your armor from finishing levels, and had some fun but also difficult bosses too. Getting quite familiar with the game and getting through a lot of the trophies, the platinum seemed plausible. That was until the Nightmare and Cataclysm mode came into play. These modes spawned so many enemies and it took no time for you to lose your health. Even though we had 4 players, we still couldn't get it done. With how difficult it was, my friends decided to move on to another game, and I kinda did the same too. It would have been too difficult by myself, and the AI in this game is useless. I did eventually come back to the game for the Tenacious Trophy. This is a smaller mode in the game where you need to hold down a small map and get through as many waves as possible. If you were lucky enough to get to wave 10, this would unlock a badge. You needed 200 endurance badges for the trophy, but due to how hard the mode was, it was at least 1 medal every 15 to 20 minutes. Even now, I don't think I would attempt this, as it really was a struggle and not worth how much time it takes to get it done. I did get through some of the DLC maps though, earning these trophies with my friends. We needed to complete certain quests and beat bosses with certain requirements. These were a little easier, but again, since my friends left the game, it was going to be a lot harder doing these by myself. Knowing the Platinum Trophy was going to be harder, it was just easier leaving the game alone and keeping the fun memories before they got ruined due to the trophy requirements. Racing games weren't always my first choice when it came down to choosing a game to play. Don't get me wrong though, I loved some of the older racing games growing up, like Underground, Most Wanted, and the Burnout series. I always liked having a variety of different genres completed on the profile. It didn't make trophy hunting repetitive, and it made it interesting testing my capabilities of what different games to play. This was one of the earlier PlayStation 4 games released for the console, and I thought why not give it a shot. Playing through a good portion of the title and earning quite a few trophies, I actually didn't mind it. The storytelling was really different, the controls were smooth, and visually the game looked amazing. Almost finishing the game, I unlocked the main trophies and some of the miscellaneous trophies too. But for whatever reason, I just put the game down and never picked it up again. This wasn't a very hard game, it just felt a little repetitive towards the end. I didn't really have much left, just to finish the main storyline, and some of the easier trophies like tuning your car to the max and completing 15 daily challenges. It's definitely not a bad game, but I think due to it being a little repetitive and was feeling a little burnt out from trophy hunting, this would most likely be the reason why I stopped playing it. That doesn't mean you can't earn the platinum though. If you want a fun game that was an easy platinum and a low completion score, I'd highly suggest giving this game a go if you haven't already. Everyone had a game they got pressured into playing because it was so good. For me, this was Fallout 4. As we all know, this was a huge game at the time and still is. Being one of the best open world games, there's so much to do, and from what it seems like, it's an enjoyable platinum too. The problem for me at the time of playing this title was having the commitment to finish it. As bad as it sounds, I spent longer creating my character than playing the game. I don't know how I came across this, but I found a video to customize my character like Nigel from the Thornberries. I managed to get a few things done from memory, kill a few enemies, build a new base, and join one of the earlier factions from the story. Getting through about 6 hours of the game, I then realised how long this platinum was going to take. I usually don't mind longer games, but 70 hours to finish a game was a little too long for me back then. Looking at the trophy list, it doesn't seem that hard. Sure, a little lengthy, but most certainly enjoyable. With how many players have completed this game, it really looks like I missed out on this title. What I have noticed though looking through the trophy guide is the number of DLC trophies. I had no idea how much DLC was added to the game after launch. I'm sure for most fans of the Fallout series, all those DLC packs were a treat after finishing the game. For me now, as someone who hasn't dived too far into this series, knowing there's another 34 trophies, including the 51 trophies for the Platinum, that's a lot of hours. Like 34 trophies for DLC, that's pretty extreme for a casual player for this franchise. Due to my past experiences with DLC trophies deducting the 100% on my profile, I might sadly never complete this game. I do have a spare account for games I don't plan to Platinum, so I might revisit this game again. And who knows, if I enjoy it enough, I might play it on my main profile, earning the Platinum and all the DLC trophies with the Nigel Thornberry character. Here's a fun one that I never managed to finish, Call of Duty Black Ops 4. I did drop off the Call of Duties, but I still love the series growing up. Playing through all the Modern Warfares and really spending a lot of my time in Black Ops 2, with my love for the multiplayer, I had that itch again to get back into the franchise. And what better COD to get back into than the game that solely focuses on multiplayer and zombies. I managed to get through a bit of the multiplayer, reaching level 55 for a trophy, earning some medals and acquiring one of the rarer trophies for earning all stars. Around this time is where I got back into trophy hunting. I figured, well, with a good majority of platinums on this account, why not get back into it? I went right into the zombie mode thinking it would be an easy task, but I obviously didn't look at the trophy guide, and I didn't understand what most of these trophies required. I distinctly remember going for My Name is the Arena trophy, where you need to survive 20 rounds without opening the gate on the easier map. Even with this trophy, I actually struggled, and it took me a lot of attempts. That's when I had a feeling it was going to be a lot harder than I anticipated. Not only did I not look at all the trophies required for the platinum, but I loved having the 100% on my account, and this game had 5 DLC packs. Meaning there was a lot more work to be done if I wanted that full completion. I don't know about you, but I grew up playing zombies with my friends, and I always loved sharing the experience with them. I honestly don't enjoy the game nearly as much by myself, and this was another huge factor for me not getting this done. Not only am I not the most experienced with zombie Easter eggs and the fundamentals to earn the zombie trophies, but I also know when to leave a platinum if it's going to bring me too much stress. Trackmania Turbo was one of those games that was on the PlayStation Plus service and looked somewhat interesting at the time. This was well before I checked every game for the trophies, and man did I regret this. I played a lot of this game with a friend, but when it came down to playing solo, this was horrible. Mind you, it was a well done racing game, it had detailed maps, some of the tightest controls, and a lot of content packed in. If you weren't a trophy hunter, this would be a good game to have some fun with. Unfortunately, as a trophy hunter, this game wasn't very forgiving. Not only do you need to improve your skills within the game and how quick you are around the maps, but the requirements to unlock some trophies are crazy difficult. What made this so difficult was the maps you had to clear, along with the expected times. There are at least 200 races in this game, all being compiled into 5 maps or worlds as you would say, all gradually getting harder the further you progressed. Looking back on this list, I'm proud of myself and how far I actually got. I managed to finish the easier worlds, including the second hardest world. As I got to the final races, I really struggled. No matter how many attempts I tried to clear a race, I just couldn't get it done. I found myself not wanting to play this game so much, and dreading every session I started as it was getting so stressful. And this is coming from someone that has Platinum Crash Team Racing. Even with that being a difficult game and very skill dependent, Trackmania was 1,000 times harder. It looks like a simple list, but it takes a lot of patience and skill to get that 0.1% platinum. I think I might leave this platinum for the pros. This game being on the list might be a surprise to a few of you. I swear I've got good reasons why I never finished this magnificent game. About everyone who had a PlayStation got to play The Last of Us at least once. After all, it's been released like 5 different times. Knowing how terrific the story is, when I finally got around to playing the game, I actually managed to spend a lot of my time in the multiplayer mode with friends. If you remember this mode, you know how much fun it was. It was pretty much team deathmatch, but with stealth and weapon crafting taken from the story. The thrill of getting a kill was a feeling like no other. People were switched on playing this game, down to the weapon classes, positioning, and even the precision of lining up a shot you wouldn't expect to be killed from. With how much fun I had in the multiplayer, I never got around to playing the story completely. I did manage to play through a bit of the story at someone's house, and I also watched a few YouTubers go through the game. It almost felt like I already completed the story in some way. I did want to eventually get through it myself, but I never got around to it. I was either too busy or found other games to play at the time. On top of that, we all know how hard the platinum is when you consider the survival difficulty. Including those pendants and artifact collectibles, I knew it would be a pain if I decided to go for the full 100%. Don't get me wrong though, it's a masterpiece of a game and one of the best story driven games out there. Even with the recent television series that came out this year, I really enjoyed that too. Who knows, maybe one day I'll come back to this one, but for the meantime, I've already accepted my fate of this platinum not being completed on this profile. Now Catherine, man, this was such a unique game. This was one of those games you had no idea what it was, but the cover just roped you in because it looks so different. I watched a few videos on it and I fell in love with its quirky style. Finally getting around to playing it, I had no idea it was going to be a harder title. Back then, I didn't know trophy guides existed and the access to the internet wasn't so easy either. You play the character Vince, an anxious dude who was stuck between his girlfriend and this mysterious girl that caused a lot of trouble in his life. This character Catherine kept re-entering his life in various ways, and Vince needed to keep this problem a secret from his actual girlfriends. Not only was the story really well done, the balance between the animated cutscenes and the gameplay was perfect too. Essentially, after a difficult day at work, spending some time at the pub with your friends and going to sleep for the next day, the real gameplay begins. It's very similar to the Persona series where it's a role-playing game, but still different in its own way too. Each night you have some crazy dreams and need to make your way through the difficult puzzles to get your way to the top of the tower to wake up for the next day. I don't know if it was my skill at the time, but as I got further into this game, it got really difficult. You had elements added to the puzzles, more things to balance, and the levels were longer, needing you to really pay attention. Even though I wasn't the best at puzzles, the curiosity kept me going. Like, how often do you see Rams chilling inside a church in a video game? For some strange reason, at the time I thought the Japanese description for the trophies was normal, but obviously I might have received a Japanese English copy of the game. Not really an issue, as I got through a lot of the game, trying to get as many trophies as I could. I did however take a break from it for a while and came back to one of the harder trophies. Even though it's only a 4.9% trophy, it wasn't the easiest. To unlock the trophy, you needed to play through all 64 levels to save the princess from the tower. You only had 3 credits each day, and it was very easy to make mistakes in the minigame. It took a few sessions, but we eventually got it done. I also remember having difficulties with the co-op trophies. This was very similar to the puzzle mode in the story, but instead you could do it with another player. Both players need to time the puzzles accordingly, and if one makes a mistake, this will cost the run. Having a friend over, we got through the easiest level and unlocked the Babel's Calling trophy, but after that we both knew it was going to be a pain, so we decided to leave it. As much as I really enjoyed this game, it just got too difficult and did require a lot of skill, but I do like to keep in mind I was a lot younger when I played this game, so maybe I've improved since then, but you never know, I might revisit this gem, as it will always hold a special spot, being one of the first games I purchased that not everyone owns. Well, that was my 7 games I couldn't finish on my older profile. I feel like since then I've developed my skills in games and have a better patience when it comes to those longer platinums. Who knows, maybe one day I might attempt 1 or 2 of those games again for the channel, but I think we'll give it some time. Currently we've been working on some really fun games and have some more difficult games planned too. We've got a great video coming up and Simpsons Hit and Run planned right after, so make sure you've got those notifications on. If you did enjoy the video, leave a like and let me know down in the comments what games you couldn't finish. There's just so many games out there, sometimes it's not a bad thing to step away from it. Thank you for joining me on this different type of video, and for all the support, it means the absolute world. Until next time, stay safe out there, look after yourselves, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Told me that you never lied. Shoot him in the gut and now he walking like he timing me. Thought his girl was loyal, but he never knew she followed me. And she full like foil, cause she told me that she wanted me. I can feel it boil, yeah.